Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone was tired. Tired of the whispers, the criticisms, the constant demand for more. She had shattered records, pushed the boundaries of human speed, and yet, the world still wanted something else. Something beyond greatness. They wanted a show, but Sydney wasn't here for theatrics. She was here to dominate. Of track and field, where milliseconds define legacies, Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone stands alone. Not just as a champion, but as a legend in the making. She isn't just fast, she is historically fast. The numbers speak for themselves. Sydney is the only woman in history to break both the 52-second and 51-second barriers in the 400-meter hurdles, an event that demands a perfect blend of speed, endurance, and rhythm. To do it once is a marvel. To do it twice is sheer dominance. When she arrived at the Paris Olympics, the expectations were sky high. The world watched, waiting for yet another historic moment. And Sydney delivered. She didn't just win. She obliterated the competition, clocking in at a mind-blowing 50.37 seconds. The rest of the field barely had time to react before she had crossed the finish line, leaving no doubt about who owned the sport. Yet, instead of basking in her unparalleled achievements, Sydney found herself at the center of an unexpected storm. Critics complained that she didn't race enough, that she wasn't engaging enough with the crowd, that she didn't have a big enough personality. The world wasn't just demanding speed, they were demanding entertainment.
But why?
Sydney wasn't avoiding competition. Anyone who understands elite-level athletics knows that the best don't waste energy on meaningless races. They peak when it matters. She wasn't just showing up to participate. She was there to break records, to rewrite history, to cement her legacy. And if that meant choosing her races carefully, then so be it. Still, the noise grew louder. The expectations heavier. Fans wanted more theatrics, more engagement, more flair. They compared her to athletes who hyped up the crowd before every race, to showmen who thrived in the spotlight. But Sydney wasn't a showman. She was an assassin on the track. Silent, focused, and deadly. Finally, she had enough. In an interview on Spill the Tea, Sydney decided to shut down the critics once and for all. Her words were direct, unapologetic, and laced with the kind of confidence that only comes from knowing you are the best. "I get a lot of flack for not showing enough personality on the track," she said, her voice unwavering. "But it's because I'm trying to give y'all the best performances possible. Period." And then, the mic drop moment. Pick one. We can't have both. Period. The message was clear. Sydney wasn't here to dance for the cameras. She wasn't here to play a role. She was here to win. Either people accepted that, or they could keep complaining while she continued collecting gold medals. Either way, she wasn't changing for anyone. The backlash was swift, but so was the support. Michael Johnson, a four-time Olympic champion and track legend, wasn't about to let the critics run wild with their false narratives. In a single tweet, he shut down the debate. "You don't have to hope." She was the first athlete to sign a Grand Slam track contract, committing to fans that she will run 8 races per year against the best in the world. In one statement, Johnson exposed the biggest flaw in the argument against Sydney. Not only was she competing, but she was doing it at the highest level, against the best in the world. That wasn't the behavior of someone avoiding competition. That was the mindset of a strategic, elite athlete ensuring longevity and peak performance. For Johnson, the criticism hit close to home. During his career, he faced the same scrutiny. Too serious, too focused, not engaging enough. But he let his records and gold medals do the talking.
Sound familiar?
Sydney was cut from the same cloth, and Johnson saw himself in her approach. Instead of indulging in unnecessary theatrics, she let her performances be the spectacle. Meanwhile, fans and media outlets tried to fabricate a rivalry between Sydney and Dutch hurdler Femke Bol. On paper, it made sense, 2 of the fastest women in history competing in the same event. But in reality, there was no bitter battle, No heated exchanges, no manufactured tension. Sydney wasn't looking over her shoulder. She wasn't watching her competition. She was focused on herself, on her training, on breaking her own records. Femke Bol was undeniably talented, but she had yet to truly challenge Sydney on the biggest stage.
And Sydney?
She wasn't interested in playing into the drama. What made the situation even more amusing was that neither Sydney nor Femke had ever shown any animosity toward each other. They respected one another as athletes, understanding better than anyone the dedication it took to reach their level. But the world craved a rivalry, a storyline to latch onto. Sydney refused to give them one. The reality was simple. Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone wasn't here to entertain. She wasn't here to make people like her. She was here to make history. And history doesn't need a performance. It needs a champion. Subscribe for more sports content.